I
Lord,
think the votes are there,
How do you
download.
How do you get there?
Go scroll down.
now and/or in November, which blew me away.
Scroll down on what?
Because I said, well, then what's the point of the...
You're probably
Scroll
gonna
down.
open to the Board of Selectmen, go backwards
There it
one,
is, I see
then
it.
you're gonna, should end up with a long list, scroll down.
No, well, I'm at
No,
the
never
selectmen.
mind.
I thought they were gonna.
Never mind.
Here we go.
Oh,
I found it. I win.
Parade Committee,
They didn't.
Planning Board,
What'd they
April
ask you?
25th.
There's
They
all
asked
this
me to
junk.
buy a page. It was still advertising. I'm like, yeah, thanks.
View from Billrica Road.
So where
We're in.
how the heck do you start?
I did that all on my own.
Good, huh?
Where
Next
is
time, check the rear.
this?
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, we're probably on,
Oh, yeah, we are.
There it is.
Unbelievable. I just,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
What are we supposed to do
This
with
is
it?
it?
Go into town, Chelmsford, and
no, okay.
All right.
So it's 1655 to be established.
Put this away.
That's a problem.
Starts ringing.
There we go.
It's the easiest way,
News,
so
agendas.
you get at home.
April.
oh, you were just going to the agenda?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
yeah,
go
now I
into,
gotta do that little thing
Yeah,
about
yeah.
it's the easiest way.
And
These guys
just-
all go.
Sure.
And
That's
then,
all we
and then
do.
you just gotta hit download a couple of
Yep.
times.
Okay.
So
All right.
Cool.
most of them are gonna be up on board, so.
Except for some of those files that were zipped, I still couldn't open.
Where did those glasses? I can see what I'm doing.
Boom, voila. Okay.
Katie never sent us it.
You guys all set?
So I think so.
All right, well, seeing as it is 7 o'clock, I'm calling the, this meeting, this April 25th meeting of the Chelmsford Planning Board to order. Let's see.
Televised?
Yes, we are indeed televised, at least I hope we're televised, and recorded as well. Okay, with that said, first item on the agenda, administrative review, 197 Billrica Road. This is for a CEIOD applicability finding, so for those watching, it's not a determination. It's that we're going to do something necessarily with it. It's just a determination or not that this is, that CEIOD is applicable to this particular project, and that's all it is. And
Okay.
take it away.
Good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson. I'm here tonight on behalf of Kinlock Retail LLC. Mr. David Guthrie and Chris Finnerl are here in the front row tonight. I think you'll remember them from 104 Turnpike Road recently. So we have some familiarity with the overlay district. On this side, at the corner of Scientia and Billrica Road, at 197 Billrica Road is 2.2 acres of woodlands currently right now owned by Alted Enterprises. Essentially what we'd like to do is utilize the business amenities overlay district and your community investment enhancement overlay district to permit a restaurant and retail services plaza to help transition this area into the live, work, play community that we talk about in the overlay district. So what we'd like to do here is in the front building, a restaurant. We've conceptualized this as a 200-seat restaurant at this point, about 4,500 square feet, 4,600 square feet, with a side of potential retail service space of 2,845. That building fronts on Billrica Road. It would be set up a little off of Billrica Road, a little bit higher than Billrica Road, and it essentially would have two fronts. So pedestrians walking down Billrica Road on the sidewalk on our side of the road would be able to see into the building from Billrica Road and then come down Scientia. For Scientia, we were looking at opening it up a little bit more and making it a little bit more pedestrian friendly, make it a little more friendly to a development on this corner. So we were looking at adding parallel parking on either side of Scientia, so that would happen within the right of way. But we're showing some parking spaces and some streetscape along that road, so it would open it up We're showing some tree plantings and sidewalk along that road and some parallel spaces where you could get a pedestrian access up to the center pedestrian plaza area, which we're showing between the two buildings. The rear building is an additional 5,400 square feet that could be broken up in a number of different ways for retail and services also. In between the buildings, what we've envisioned is a pedestrian plaza, an area where we could have patio seating for the restaurant and have a place for people to congregate interior of the project. The parking is set to the back of the project, so you would come in off of Scientia. There's two-way traffic in off Scientia. You would wrap around the parking lot in the rear, and that's how you would gain your spaces for both the restaurant and retail spaces on the lot. So required, based on the layout we have here today, would be 128 spaces. We're showing 117 on-site and 15 off-site. For a total of 132 spaces, so we're a little bit more than necessary. Loading would be on the side of the building, and we're showing an access out onto Billerica Road in that area that would be gated and for loading only. So a vehicle or a truck would come in through Scientia, wrap around the building, load, unload, and leave out Billerica Road only, but regular traffic would not come in and out of Billerica Road based on this concept plan. For this concept plan, we are adjacent to industrial properties to the south and to the west and to the north. To the north, just to the east, is Apollo Drive. But we also are direct abutters to 4 residential properties. So one of the things that we did very early in this planning process was to reach out to our neighbors. We've now conducted 2 meetings with the Los Barados, Frank and Alice, who is our biggest abutter, right there to the east. They own those 2 parcels there. Miss Oskowski and her family, and also Miss Supple, who's the next actually homeowner down. So we've held 2 meetings with the abutters and discussed. We've actually been over to the Los Barados' house, Frank and Alice's house, to look at their view shed and talk about some different things that they would need for buffering their property. And some of those things have been added to this conceptual plan, things like evergreen plantings and a fence. So as early as yesterday, we met and talked about, how tall the fence might need to be or want to be in that area. There is a wetland area to the southeast, a small pond area that's on the lower corner of the property, so we would have to appear before Conservation Commission with this project. And we're showing some planting spaces throughout the property to show some buffering, both from the retail center to the industrial neighbors and also to the residential neighbors. So we're asking for a few waivers as part of this. We're asking for certainly the decreased parking, which just having the 15 spaces in Scientia instead of doing the full build out on the lot. And we're also, because we are adjacent to a residential property, we would need a waiver from the landscape requirement and also the offset requirement to a residentially used property for this parcel. And that is basically it. So, well, actually, I'm forgetting the most important part, what it's going to look like. Which people love to see. So Mogul Architects is working on this job. You're familiar with Mogul's work out of Harvard, Massachusetts. We've been working with a restaurateur and we've been working with the applicant to come up with a concept. The building is 1 story. So this is our concept here from a couple of different view sheds. We'd like to, certainly include the brick from some of the surrounding buildings, but also kind of give it a little bit more of an industrial feel. With some of the metal components, also big windows for view sheds from Billerica Road and Scientia. So you can see a couple of the different view sheds here. You can see that the building itself is fairly small. We're only talking about just under 13,000 square feet for a 2-acre lot, and it's only 1 story in this area. And then this is just our letter that we submitted. So we're here tonight to look for approval of applicability. Obviously, we have a lot of work we need to do for site plan approval. We'd need to do, obviously, our lighting, landscaping, grading, drainage, get really into all of that engineering. But this is our well thought out first pass for the site. So we'd like to see how you all feel about it tonight.
Very good. Thank you. Let's see, before we go around the board, Evan, do you have any particular thoughts on this? I know you've been more closely involved.
Yeah, I've been working on this for an extended period of time, initially dating back with the property owner and bringing to their attention the overlay opportunities and trying to work with them to encourage them to pivot from marketing it for industrial purposes. So we've come a long way with that. As the board knows, it's the first amenity proposal.
Right.
And I think that kind of sets the context. I think whatever the board and the developer decide to proceed with, it likely sets the tone and the stage for the quality of aesthetics. So I think that's worth bearing in mind. And then ultimately, editorially, there's a lot of eyes interested in how this unfolds.
Yeah, I can well imagine. Okay, what's that?
Letters?
Are there any letters on this?
Oh, no, I
don't
didn't, I'm
think
No,
sorry.
this is a COA,
COID,
so there's no letters on
no
it.
comment yet.
You're off the hook. With that said, why don't we take it around for questions, and keeping in mind that this is a preliminary approval, it's not an overall plan approval. Want to take a shot?
Absolutely. This project definitely has my attention, in a very positive way. I've had an opportunity to walk the property. I like what they've shown us here tonight. I like the idea it's one story. I like the mix of the uses. I like the layout. I even like the parking spaces on Ciencia. I think it works. I mean, if you spend time in that area, there's not a large amount of traffic that flows down Ciencia. I think it works really well and makes a good neighborhood. And actually, we were over at Apollo Drive, and we were just looking at 300 Apollo and checking out the back part there, and in the parking lot was a couple of guys walking with some bags, and so we stopped and asked him, I said, "Where'd you get that this lunch?" And he goes, "Oh, we went into the center to get from the center." But we're thinking, if there's a restaurant right across the street, they're just gonna walk right across the street. It's amazing the amount of people that are walking that area. So something like a retail project like this in that area, there's gonna be a lot of attention. I think it's very positive for the town. And further, I have great confidence in Dave and the development team.
Glenn?
All right, I think you said it all, but I like it. It's a great project. It's well needed up in that area. I think it's gonna be a good fit. I think it fits into all the COID stuff that we need to see to make it fit, to make it go. I think it's great.
Okay, let me be specific. I think it's a good project. So let me get you a little further down the road, because I'm pretty sure I think how the outcome's gonna be. I'm not so sure, and I'm not looking for answers, Katie. Looking for you to just listen. Sienta Drive, I'm not so sure once we start this, it's going to get busy and it's going to get narrow. It's going to start feeling narrow, especially in the winter. I think I'd like you to consider opening it up to the full width all the way on both sides, full right of way on both sides, and putting parking only on one side. That way there, you might get a little bit better flow through there, especially for ambulances and emergency vehicles, seeing as we have some medical applications back in the industrial park back there. We have the dialysis clinic back there and everything. And there's only two ways, one through Industrial Avenue and the other through Sienta Drive. So I just don't want to make sure people aren't narrowing that down. Okay, so that's one. Number two, now I'll just bring it up. Maybe they've brought it up in your abutter meetings. But when you look at the assessor's map for this versus your plot plan, that right-of-way appears to go with the property that the restaurants are gonna be on, cutting right through the, I always screw up the pronunciation of their nameless, the direct abutter.
Yeah.
You might want to give some consideration to how, are you gonna wanna own that right-of-way? You're gonna wanna make friends through using that right-of-way somehow to make friends? I just leave it hanging out there, because this doesn't designate the way the lot is actually shown on the assessor's map. Because the abutters have two separate pieces of property, separated by your 20-foot strip. And we've seen right-of-way problems on other properties all of a sudden showing up 15, 20 years after the fact. Third, you've got lots of screening behind their house and their garage, but I don't see any screening to the, I'm gonna call it the west side of their house, right along your delivery path, your delivery driveway. And maybe you should talk to them and consider whether you should put some in or put it in on their property. You know, see if they'll allow you to put the trees in on their property. I know some of it's green, but once you cut down your stuff to put your buildings in, a lot of their, it's gonna open it up quite well. And so they may want a little screening there. But those were the three big ones. The architecture, I can't comment on it because tonight's the first time I've ever seen any architectural stuff. You know, the buildings inside the little industrial park, it's not little, it's pretty big. Inside there, actually, some of them they're pretty nice brick buildings. So you may not want to get too far industrial looking. You may want to look at matching up maybe the color of the brick or some of the looks of the industrial park, where the Dialis and Eastco is for two specific ones back there. That's enough for me for tonight. But that gives you a hint as to how I'm looking at the future for this thing.
Nancy, you want to take a shot?
1980.
Well, I like the idea of it, and as always, your designs look gorgeous. I'm kind of disappointed that it's a one-story building in terms of utilization of the area. I'm also kind of concerned that it is not at all industrial, that there is no industrial use, that it's 100% commercial. And I understand you can do that because it's not a pre-existing building, but I'm still concerned about it. In that the overlay, the purpose of the overlay is to promote the industrial utilization, not to replace it with commercial uses, but to supplement commercial uses into it that support those industrial uses. Yeah, I think my only particular caution would be to build some really great relationships with your residential neighbors and be very sensitive to the fact that they're still there. you know, for whatever period those properties stay residential, they are. They still are. And I like what Ed had to say about the parking issues on Sienta. Because I think having parking on both sides is going to get rather complicated in terms of, as the traffic builds up. So that's all I have.
I think it's a good addition to the area. It's kind of like what Westford's done. You've got some restaurants that are off, you don't have everything all in one. I can see this. People like to walk. I really don't have a problem with the concept of this. I think what Ed said, trying to match some of the other buildings is kind of good with the brick and stuff. Other than that, I think conceptually it's a great one for the COID.
As Dawn said, we walked it the other day, and it was amazing, all the people out there, so I think it would be a great fit for the neighborhood. I like the plan. I was wondering what it was going to look like, so it's nice to see the drawings today. And about the parking on both sides, I have to agree with them, too. It is kind of tight over there. I was wondering how you were going to be able to do it on the other side, too, but if you did it on one side, it would make more sense. Other than that, I think it looks great.
Okay, I had two thoughts. First, insofar as widening up the road at some point or other in order to accommodate parking, I gather that's an approved road at the moment. That's town. So I'm wondering just exactly how that would get funded, that little project. I mean, who's going to pick up the tab to widen it?
Very
And that's,
likely be the developer.
yeah, that's what I would,
The,
kind of where I was going.
the approval authority
Yeah,
for the town,
Yeah.
is the Board of Selectmen, as the road commissioners at the town of
Yeah.
road. So we'll have to figure out during the planning board process how that's handled via the
Yeah.
planning board. Certainly, I think the planning board process can inform and guide.
yeah.
And hopefully that's a cooperative partnership that results in a resolution.
Good. And our man from the Board of Selectmen is sitting back there, so he's taking this all in. Okay, to be somewhat different, kind of like the idea of it widening out and then narrowing up, widening out just for the area of the parking spaces, although we probably have to look at the overall width.
50 feet,
Yeah, the 50 feet is the
the right of way.
right-of-way. What's the road right now, 30?
It's less than 50.
Yeah, it's a good bit less than 50, I'll tell you that.
Something that the board wants marked out.
Yeah,
during
we
the-
probably would, but it's premature at this point. We're still looking for.
It's all
yeah.
good comments, though.
Yeah. The other question I had was how much relief do you think this project is going to need from the setbacks, given that it's up against some residential properties? I mean, how big is the relief you need?
The relief is big, because in the only district that has a relief of 100 feet, it's the IA.
Right.
Everyone else is 25.
Okay, and do you have some sense about what you would be looking for?
This building is 20 feet off that side lot line.
Okay, it's 20 feet off the lot line, but on the other hand, there's a bunch of
Right,
green in
there's
the
a
middle.
lot between, correct.
Okay. All right, well, we would have to deal with that when the time comes, but that's going to obviously be a matter of some discussion. Anybody want to make an additional comment or express an additional thought before we consider?
No, I think we've said pretty much
Yeah.
it. I sense we all are going in one direction
Yeah.
here.
Well, I sense that this certainly is within the purview of CEIOD and Bayard, so,
Would you like a motion for,
Yeah.
yeah,
Ju-
so go ahead.
Just one comment. Dead serious, I think, about some of our comments on the street and other things. So just because we might say yes tonight, doesn't mean later on, we're not going to be talking. during the
Okay.
process.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, go ahead.
Food for thought. Is that parking even necessary on Sancho then?
In order to make the parking that you would expect on this facility, you're gonna have to, they're gonna need technically need some relief if some of that's gonna be on-street.
I mean,
Anyway.
we could remove that and get it on the lot. It actually was suggested by
I was just gonna say.
Mr. Valansky to do this on Science,
I think it opens it
to
up.
create a more pedestrian-friendly
Whether it's one
environment.
side or two sides
Yeah.
isn't
All right,
really
well,
the
that's,
detail.
yeah,
We're
that's
trying to-
something that, yeah.
Trying to activate these side streets
Yeah.
as the overlay begins to evolve and get
Right.
transformed. Is
Exactly.
fairly important.
Yeah, that's my thought. It's got to start looking a little bit less like a driveway to a factory and a little bit more like
Yeah,
a.
so maybe
yeah.
maybe the compromise and the mutual agreement is one side only.
Okay, well, we could, that we can work with. That said, I'm inclined to entertain a motion.
Give you a motion to find a positive finding of applicability. Is that a good way to put
Yes.
it
Yeah, that's exactly how to put it.
on this project?
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any final discussion before we call it to a vote? All in favor? Aye.
Do you have a question?
May I ask one question just
Sure.
before we go off now that you've closed it? Is there any concern as we develop our package about traffic or needing a traffic study for a development of this size? I'm not going to hold you to it. I just want to make sure that we're ready to come in when we come in.
That's actually a very good question. We're talking, 200 seats. So,
It's 12,000,
Gonna
it's
major
less than
roadway,
13,000 square feet.
I don't, yeah, go ahead.
You may want, that's in the curve on Billerica. May want a traffic engineer to look at it. What's concerned me is, do we need more signage or something out on Billerica? So somebody doesn't come barreling along and rear end somebody waiting to make a turn onto Sienta. Because a lot of your customers are gonna come from,
Well, they'll come from both directions.
yeah, but there are a lot of them industrial are on the east side. Anyway, so that's my concern, Mike,
Yeah.
on the traffic.
I think
study.
that's a good point. I mean, I don't think that the traffic count is the big question here, but
Maybe a line of
the
sight.
safety,
Line of
line of
sight.
sight and the safety of the intersection maybe.
What
And you,
what we'll likely do is
Yeah.
we'll send this to technical review. I think there may be some interest on the town's part to explore
yeah,
new pavement markings on Billerica Road.
Yeah, and if
Maybe-
you're gonna do
maybe
it,
widen it
yeah.
a little bit.
yeah.
You know, again, it's not necessarily about building this project in 2018 or 19. It's, how does this project relate to other amenity projects that may continue to be built and provide some traffic enhancements or movement enhancements along Billerica Road.
Okay.
So we'll figure that out,
All
prior
right,
to.
but that's yet to be determined.
Yeah.
The town, Christina, you haven't looked at that yet
No,
in any
we
detail.
haven't
Okay.
engaged engineering.
it will
or
have to be
police
looked at.
department. We haven't had those conversations with the proponent.
Very good.
Okay,
So
thank
you've
you
got
very
it, and we'll see you back in here with a full set of plans and a big pitch, I hope.
Is that the actual restaurant with the pictures you had up that's thinking of going in there?
Did it have a name?
Yeah, it was like a tap. It says tap or something. Are you gonna do it?
Does it have a restaurateur yet?
We are working.
Okay.
Hopefully a good one.
It's not Mexican, is it?
You didn't have
No, no more sub shops.
Yeah.
Take 6 Lynch out of order, just because like Katie owns the rest of the evening.
Which one you saying taken out of order?
6 Lynch?
6 Lynch. That's going to be I don't see why we shouldn't. That's going to be a public hearing, however, so we have a few things to read. I imagine. You got them? No. All right. Help him figure out what he needs to read.
Find the 6-inch folder. Okay, where's that? That should be that should be about the third folder back.
Actually, it's the second folder,
The second
because the other
folder?
one, oh, right after the A&R.
What?
Want me to come look?
No, I think
It's just,
that's the school.
A shed exceeding the height requirement.
Exceeding the height.
We had this a year ago.
Did we?
Did we?
Yeah.
Was I asleep?
No.
I don't
it was
remember
sa-
this.
No, not for this project, but very much like it.
Oh,
Okay.
On 27, right
Right.
behind the,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
you put the outside stairs in, you get in trouble.
Ah.
Yeah, there's not much to it, if I remember right.
I think it's almost identical to what we had.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
there's no picture of it here, though.
You'll have a public notice hearing to read.
Well, that's
Yeah,
good.
You gotta read the public notice first, if you can find it. Is it in there?
No.
it's in there, it's just not.
Yeah,
You
you've
can,
gotta,
the public
gotta-
notice is right on the agenda.
Agenda.
Thank you.
The front two pages are just some schematics of it, and then there's some pictures from different angles.
Which one you want? This one?
Looks like a little house.
Sorry.
My friend built one of these for his kids, they had a playhouse out in the back.
Okay,
But it's basically a
thank you for the handouts. I guess we're gonna read the notices and the letters.
Legal notice. The Chelmsford Planning Board will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, April 25th, 2018, at 7 o'clock PM at the Chelmsford Town Offices, 50 Billrica Road, room 204, to consider the following applications submitted by Stephen McCormick, 6 Lynch Way, for a special permit under 195-11, accessory buildings for a shed that exceeds the height requirement by right. Copies of the proposals are available in the Community Development Department in room LL01 of the town offices, 50 Billrica Road, Chelmsford, Mass. 01824. It may be viewed Monday through Friday between 9 and 4 p.m. All interested parties are invited to comment in writing or may present any relevant information for consideration at the public hearing on Wednesday, April 25th, 2018, per order Chair, Chelmsford Planning Board. And it was, please, published in the Chelmsford Independent on April 5th, 2018, and Thursday, April 12th, 2018.
Okay, thank you. That's it, I don't need this. With or no concerns, you just say who it's from and no concerns.
From Colleen Stansfield, from engineering, community development, no concerns.
Bottom of the page.
Okay, Board of Health, no concerns. Center Water, no concerns. Building Department, 2 stories, no concerns. And Police Department, no concerns.
Very good.
put a check mark on the corner of all
Yeah,
of
just
them.
checking, usually up there. Very good. Okay, you're on. Please let us know who you are and,
My name's Stephen McCormick. I'm a homeowner at 6 Lynch Way in North Chelmsford. I want to thank all you guys for giving me the opportunity to come today to speak to you in regards to this. I want to start by saying that I'm the type of guy that I always try to do things right. I think if you look at the pictures, I feel as though I built a nice shed, good looking, fits the neighborhood well. And I certainly had the intention at the start of it to do things per the original building permit that I did apply for. And, I had a foundation inspection, and it was brought to my attention during the final inspection on the structure that somebody had some concerns with the height of the structure. So I did go through the requirements for an accessory building on a residential property, and although I'm completely happy to go through this process and pay the fee and get a special permit, it is my belief that I meet all the requirements that are set forth in 195-11. There's 3 restrictions on it. The first restriction is that it has to be under a 900 square foot footprint. My footprint is 624 square feet, so I meet that requirement. Second requirement is that it has to be under, the building structure height has to be under 20 feet. If you look on the published Chelmsford Building Department website, It talks about the mean average of height across the building from the grade 6 feet outside the perimeter of the foundation. If you take all those heights, my maximum height is at the peak of 20 feet. If you take the front elevation and the rear elevation of 8'8" and 16'6", that gives me a mean height of 16.29. So I feel as though I meet the requirement of staying under 20 feet. And then the third requirement is 2 stories. So I guess that's where things maybe get a little bit tricky. I did hear somebody mention having the stairs in the back, going through the Massachusetts Building Code. I have not seen anything that sets a requirement that a set of stairs coming from an attic space or a higher level of a structure constitutes a second story. It's my understanding that what triggers a second story in a residential application is a finished structure height of 7'6" from a finished floor to a finished ceiling elevation. I have a 7-foot ceiling height, as you can see from the schematic that's there. So as a result of that, I feel as though I met all 3 of the requirements to not need a special permit, although I'm certainly happy to answer any questions or go
Mr.
forward with the
We're good.
process.
Very good. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I could just add a little bit to this. So this came through as a shed through the building department, and most people do not have a second story. So it was a little bit of a
Yeah, it's a little
missed
unusual.
opportunity to do it before the building
Yeah.
of the shed. So Mark apologizes for that. But
Okay, well,
not a big deal.
c'est la vie.
Yeah.
Evan? Okay, I want to make sure, because this is, it says right here, it exceeds the height. I'm not sure that's the real
Yeah, I think what's in
issue.
front of you, I think what's in front of you is Mark Dupel has made a determination as his capacity as
Right.
zoning enforcement officer.
his job.
That it exceeds the 20 feet in height.
Okay,
I think the details are, within the scope and scale of what's being proposed, and the fact that the applicant is here and explained his position. The detail as to whether it is or isn't over 20 feet, I think
Yeah.
is kind of not really relevant anymore, because the applicant is here, voluntarily here, submitted all the paperwork that the planning board needs to make a informed decision. I wouldn't focus entirely
Yeah.
on whether it is or whether it
Yeah,
isn't.
I'm just trying to make sure I know what it is
'Cause
we're granting if we grant
the-
it.
If the applicant wanted to, the applicant was likely informed that his path could have been to appeal Mark's decision.
That would have been
I
another
think
way to
It's good
do
that the
it.
applicant voluntarily came
Yeah.
here, special permit process, presenting all the information to the planning board.
Okay. Good, that's what I wanted to know. Before I open this up to the public, and this will be a public hearing, does anybody on the board have a comment or a question that they'd like to pose?
2 question, then a comment.
Of course.
These are pictures of what actually exists in fact?
That is correct, sir. Those were taken today.
Okay. Is this gonna be an in-law apartment?
No, sir.
No plans for living quarters?
No, sir.
This is just some nice second-floor place you built for yourself? Or an office?
No, I built it so my main structure in the house has plenty of size to it, and I don't need any additional living space at all. I strictly built it because I'm sick. I have 4 children. My wife and I also have custody of her younger brother who has special needs, and we have a lot of stuff in the house, 4-wheelers, bicycles, all kinds of stuff. There's always tons of people at the house, and our garages are just filled with stuff. So I said, you know what, I'm going to build something out back. And then my thought was, anyone that comes by my house anytime, any of the holidays, my wife is very into decorating. So the reason I put that, got to be careful what I call it. The space that you lead to at the top of the stairs is for strictly, we're going to store all our Christmas decorations,
Okay.
Halloween decorations, that stuff. And then downstairs is just for, bicycles,
Just
pool
put them
equipment.
in on the motion.
And I think
Yeah.
the
Okay,
building
it's not
permit that
living
Mark
space.
issued
The
likely
building permit covers this.
noted no living space or.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Is
yeah,
it-
there's
is-
no living
Is the
space.
building permit, you're obviously done with this project, it's all done.
That is correct.
Is Mark all signed off with it?
Mark is not all signed off on it.
No, he's got, this,
So he
you've got to
came-
handle this first.
Exactly.
So he's waiting on this to give you an occupancy permit on it?
That is correct.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else on the board have any thoughts or comments?
I think it's fine.
Okay.
It's certainly
My
unique,
sense.
right?
Yeah, it's a
I mean,
little unique,
I've
but
seen these before. They look a
That's
little
why
differently.
we're here.
And normally, because they're
yeah.
over 900
Yeah.
square feet in footprint. So it's a unique application.
So if you look at the drawings, I tried to be like, if you look at the footprint, I tried to be right underneath that, square foot requirement. The height, I haven't maxed out. I shrunk down that second story to make sure I didn't have even the highest elevation over 20 feet. So I tried to do my homework ahead of time, so I wouldn't be in this position.
looks like a heck of a good place for the kids to hang out.
Sure.
Is there anybody in the public, this being a public hearing, who would like to have a say? Come on up, identify yourself, and say.
Good evening. I'm Angela Dulac. I live at 7 Lynch Way, across from Mr. McCormick. I can confirm that they do have 4 children, and they have a lot of stuff.
That's precious.
The shed is beautifully done. It's aesthetically pleasing. And I have no problems, no qualms, no issues with the structure at all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, well,
Would you like a
I
motion?
make a-
well, before I make the motion, I'll make one comment, is look out, stuff expands to exceed the available space.
Yes.
I have a barn,
Yes.
and enough said.
I'll give you a motion to
Second.
approve the special,
Better close the hearing first.
Oh, yeah.
motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll give you a motion to approve the special permit with the condition on it that it will not be used for any living space.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much
You
for your
should be
time.
all set. You could,
Appreciate it.
finish it up with Evan and
Will do. Thank you very much.
the building.
I want one.
I want one too.
Yeah, he's got a beautiful house.
Yeah,
Tons
yeah.
of Christmas stuff.
Yeah, I know exactly the spot he's in. Okay. No, this is not an issue. Okay.
Should have legal ads to read?
Hey, holler when you wanna.
Mike,
Yeah, you want to
give me
take,
some legal ads to read?
Huh?
The parking
Hunt
lots.
Road.
why don't we take it
This-
down?
Well, I was gonna say, we have the 50 Hunt Road A&R.
You want to do that?
Yeah, why don't we get that out of the way?
And then
The
There should-
pictures are all in there.
Okay. Why don't you pull the file out?
maybe you can give me a break.
Yeah, then we'll take a break after that, and then we'll do the schools.
Okay.
All right. We're on. Do we have a public, this is an A&R, does it get a public notice?
No.
No, it just gets, it just gets
Just got to
the,
read the things.
Yep.
This one too.
That's, I don't,
No, that's Harrington's, that's a different,
You're in a different folder probably.
yeah,
I don't think there's any letters in this.
A&Rs
I'd
don't
be
usually
surprised.
have letters.
not usually,
Don't
but,
usually get.
It's the
Thought we'd have
plans
a
right
peek.
under you, right
Yeah, I
on,
got right here, you want these out?
yeah. Those are the ones.
yeah, you'll get the hang of that.
Yeah, a couple of
The
meetings,
third
a
meeting. Yeah.
meeting or two will be
Okay.
perfect.
No, that's not it. This one.
This is
Want something to read?
197.
We can write you a letter.
There we go. Pass a few of these out.
I still don't know how I got in this position over here, Dawn.
You were the last one into
I know.
the meeting.
Okay, there's a bunch of copies of the Form A.
When that one goes on,
So I should be passing it out. too.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then gather them back up again.
Yeah, it was on before.
It's the same thing with that.
No, this is it. This should be
I'm
it.
sorry.
Okay, Katie, you're on.
All right, good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson. Here before you tonight with an A&R lot. This is the property owned by Chuck Emanuel at 50 Hunt Road. We've recently done a 40B project that's been approved there, and as part of that, we would like to cut off the 3-family home that exists at 50 Hunt. We received a variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals for the side setback on this lot. The lot that's being created is essentially around the house and the garage over there as labeled as Lot 1.
Gotcha.
And that's it.
And that's about all there is to say.
Yep.
Okay.
How small is that clearance?
It's,
Garage to-
it's 6 feet to the garage to the sideline.
Yeah, that's, so the short one is, the short spot's the garage?
Yes.
Okay, the rest of it's pretty much within spec.
Right.
It's even got quite an overhang over there, because
Yeah.
they used to store squash
does.
behind there.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
They pick the squash out of the field and pile it up behind the shed.
Okay.
It's a given.
Okay.
No concerns.
Henry? Kim?
No concerns.
No concerns.
No concerns. Okay.
Motion to approve the A&R?
No,
With no,
yeah,
with no
no
determination?
determination.
Not approve it.
Endorse it.
Endorse.
Endorse it, yes.
I made that motion?
Second.
So we have a motion, we have a second to endorse the A&R with no determination as to zoning. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Thank you very much.
Got
Thank
it.
you for splitting it.
That probably set a record.
Yeah. Take a break.
Thanks a lot, Katie. Yeah, I guess you're all set.
I'm next too.
You're next. Good grief.
Moving along.
We've got to stop
I'm in
meeting like
order.
this.
I'm in order.
Okay.
Well, we take,
The next one up, if that's the one that you're thinking about, is parking lots for 2 schools.
Right.
Okay.
take a break.
Oh, okay, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
Gonna take a.
Catch our breath.
I want some water.
Yeah, you have to read.
work. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Keep everybody comfortable.
Okay. Has everybody got their wits gathered back together? Okay. Let's go.
Did we open the hearings?
Yeah, we're about to. We're about to read the notices.
All right, the legal notice. The Chelmsford Planning Board will conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, April 25th, 2018, at 7:00 PM at the Chelmsford Town Offices, 50 Billerica Road, room 204, to consider the following applications submitted by the Town of Chelmsford as at the following properties: 84 Billerica Road, Center Elementary School, 120 Richardson Road, Harrington Elementary School. Applicant requests site plan approval, section 195-104, and permit 195-74, lot coverage for aquifer protection and any other relief that may be deemed necessary associated with parking lot expansions. 26 new spaces at Center and 65 new spaces at Harrington, and associated site improvements related to parking, drainage, landscaping, and lighting. Copies of the proposals are available in the Community Development Department in room lower level 01 of the town offices, 50 Billerica Road, Chelmsford, Mass. 01824. It may be viewed Monday through Friday between 9 and 4 p.m. All interested parties are invited to comment in writing or may present any relevant information for consideration at the public hearing on Wednesday, April 25th, 2017, per order, Chair, Chelmsford Planning Board. And then the Water Department has one letter. Dear Planning Board members, the North Chelmsford Water District has reviewed the proposed plans dated March 16, 2018, to expand the parking at Harrington Elementary, 120 Richardson Road, that includes drainage improvements in the Aquifer Protection District. The Water District's main concern that the contractor must abide by the Town of Chelmsford's aquifer protection bylaws. 1A, de-icing material shall be regulated to the minimum use as rock salt, sodium chloride, or sodium de-icing salts that will be used on this property. 1B, during and after work on the project, there shall be no discharge or spillage of fuel, oil, or other pollutants into any part of the site. The site applicant shall take all reasonable precautions to prevent the release of pollutants by ignorance, accident, or vandalism. This condition shall remain in perpetuity and shall not expire with the issuance of a certificate of compliance. 1C, the applicant, owners, and tenants, and their successors and assignees shall maintain all culverts, collections, basins, traps, outlet structures, and other elements of the drainage system in order to avoid blockages and salitation which might cause failure of the system and/or detrimental impacts to on-site or off-site resource area. Sincerely yours, Bruce J. Harper, Senior Superintendent. Building Department, no concerns. Board of Health, no concerns. Central Water, no concerns. And the police, no concerns. And that's it.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson. I'm here tonight with Stephen Yonley, your Assistant DPW Director for this project for the town of Chelmsford. We're going to do Center School first. This is at 84 Billerica Road. We were here last year with a new modular classroom out behind the building. We're here before you tonight to do two parking lot additions. We looked at adding parking in this area. When we did the modular classroom, it's needed for the center school to have some additional parking. So we looked at adding it in the most environmentally responsible way possible. So we looked at two specific areas, one out in front of the building where we're adding 18 spaces in the front. You can see it's behind the flagpole and some of the shrubs that are there in the front of center school. We're following essentially the existing grading and maintaining the path of travel. So we've created a slight angle to the spaces in that area so that people will come in and wrap around to the left or to the right to leave the subject site. and not interfere with the current traffic patterns. We've also looked at adding additional spaces off the cul-de-sac at the rear of the site, which you can see in the upper left-hand corner. For some reason, they weren't carried all the way around. So there's 8 additional spaces that we're looking to build in the back corner off the cul-de-sac in that area. So a good portion of that cul-de-sac is already there and the parking is already there. We're literally just putting the 8 spaces itself on an existing aisle. As part of this project, we're also adding a sidewalk up to Billricker Road from the school up the side. So we're adding curbing in that area and adding a pedestrian walkway that brings you up to Billricker Road. Also, we're doing some pretty extensive drainage. Both of these sites are within 100 feet of a wetland, so we're within, for this, both of these parking sites, so we're currently in front of the Conservation Commission with the notice of intent. We're looking at capturing the increased impervious areas, treating the water and infiltrating the water before discharging it to the wetland. So there's an underground drainage system that we've designed in the front lot, which will accept that water and recharge in that area. And your town engineer, Christina, has reviewed this site. We have some minor modifications that we're working on, nothing that's going to change the package significantly. We've worked through a lot of those revisions, and we'll make sure we get those over to the engineering department. And that covers it. We're not adding any additional lighting or additional plantings on this site.
Very good. Now, which site is this one again? This is Center.
This is Center.
Okay. And you might as well just go ahead and do the other one, or do you want to do the one at a time?
If we could do questions for Center, and then I can do Harrington, questions for
That's
Harrington.
fair enough. Let's see, where do we start? Tim?
I don't have any questions with it.
I'm good.
Ann?
No concerns.
Just so I can locate it, because I can't read it and I can't open it on the pad. Where is the school building? Generally, where are the school buildings?
So the school is this C-shaped here.
Yeah, I can't,
Oh, no,
eyes,
It's the brown area.
pointed,
The brown area.
The school is here. That's the front of the school.
that's the front of the school, and that's the brown area also on
Right
the,
here, yep.
on the other slide
On
that,
this side too, yep. So this is just at the back of the site. So it's at the back left corner before you get to the playing field and the playground.
okay.
It's way out in the back left corner, this part. And this is the only, we're just adding these 8 spaces.
So we're gonna
right
cut a
here.
few trees and put some parking
Not
spots.
even, this is all grass right there. There's nothing
Okay.
there even. I don't know why it hadn't been brought over. And
Okay.
this is in the area that's out front, in front of the school, between the flagpole and the existing driveway.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Glenn?
I don't think I got, just one question, it doesn't really have anything to do with it. Is this gonna be a DPW project, or is this something that's gonna be put out to bid, or should be out to bid? That's all, I was just curious.
How many spots are in the front, Katie?
There's 18 new spots.
18? And then you're gonna include some internal sidewalks?
So there'll be a new sidewalk that will come up the side of the driveway. So it'll connect here and it'll come up the side of the driveway out to the existing walk on Billrica. And this will be protected, so this will be a new, there'll be a curb line along this side, so it will be protected.
All right.
That's a great addition, yeah.
I assume this is to handle increased staff, because I don't imagine any of the kids at these schools have driver's licenses.
Oh, but pickup there is.
It's the pits pickup? Okay.
Right.
All right,
Enough room for
that's
anyone.
worth knowing. Okay, very good. Let's see, is this a public hearing? I don't, it is? Well, in that case, let us open the public hearing. And would anybody from the public, and we'll do this in 2 chunks, one for each of the sites, because I think your point of doing it site by site is better. Anybody out there wish to address the board?
No comments from Chris? Good addition?
Okay.
Would you like a motion to approve?
No,
Close.
just close
Motion to
this
close
piece
the
of the
public.
public hearing.
Yep.
We will reopen it
Yep.
for the second property. I think
Motion
that's
to
a sensible
close
way to do it.
This portion of the public hearing.
Center School.
Moved, second, in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, we're gonna go into a second one. We've already
Correct.
done the readings. Let's see the second site.
All right. This is 120 Richardson Road for the Harrington School. Again, we looked at adding parking in the school as efficiently as possible. So currently there's a row of parking in front of the school. It's kind of the northernmost parking that you see in this plan. This parking actually exists and it's paved through to the aisle. What we've done is create a separate parking lot similar to Center. So we're redoing those spaces, creating a 24-foot aisle and adding another row of spaces. So we're increasing the parking on this lot by 37 spaces. So we're adding 37 new spaces in the front landscape area for this school. So this is right in front of Harrington. You can see the new modular off to the side, off to the left there. And essentially, we're taking one row out, creating that landscape buffer between kind of the drop-off area that runs along the front of the school and creating the parking area unto itself that's double loaded. So as part of this, we're creating crosswalks and ADA accessible ramps at both of the entrances to bring that existing walkway. And we're also looking at adding some street trees along the frontage. Similar to Center, we're also adding an underground infiltration area to take care of the increased impervious surfaces that we are adding to this site. So we're creating a new catch basin to an oil sediment separator to an underground infiltration system here also to handle some of the increase in flow from the site. And that's it.
Very good. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's take it around and start with you.
I'm all set, I don't have any questions.
I just have a question. The flow of the traffic, right? So in one, out the other. This would be more, could it be used as a stage area as well as a parking area? I mean, so it's really helping safety with the school, right?
Well, it's getting kind of the staging out of the parking area. So the parking is not adjacent anymore to the access aisle. It's actually contained amongst itself, so.
Understood, yeah. That does sound better.
Nope, no concerns.
Good.
Yeah, question, your infiltration system, what kind of maintenance is required for that, and where's the budget for it?
So it's not significant maintenance. I mean, I can talk to it a little bit, or really, the pre-treatment here, the deep uncoated catch basins and the oil sediment separator are going to capture most of the, any floatables and any sediments that happen here. So, and those just have to be manually vacuumed out or scooped out by the DPWs, which is
Which safety doc,
shoveled out, clamshelled out, however you want to talk about it.
No, that's fine. For the record, Stephen Young, the Assistant Public Works Director. The catch basins, we clean them manually, on any school properties as well as the roads. The oil separators, they just need to be monitored, and then you need to vac the truck to basically.
so you're
glorify-
currently doing this
Yeah,
all over the place anyhow, and it's a incidental addition to your
Correct.
volume?
Gotcha.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
I knew we'd get you up there. Okay. Let's see. Again, this is a public hearing. I've chosen to break it into two chunks, so let me open the public hearing. And I'm looking out there over the great mass of public. Would anybody like to speak on this matter? Anybody at all?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing has been closed. We've been asked for approval on this, and this is special permit 195-74 lot coverage and site approval 195-104. Can this all be done in one motion, Evan?
Let's do two separate motions.
Two separate, you better? Okay. In that case,
I'll give you the motion if you want it. Motion to approve. Yep, where are we?
Center.
Special permit first.
Center School.
104.
Yep. Site approval for 195-104 and a special permit for 195-74.
We'll do let's do the site plan approval first.
Okay,
For each project, do one motion.
Yeah, okay.
okay. So make a motion for a site plan approval, section 195-104 for the Center Elementary School
Sounds good?
with the special permit.
Yeah.
With the special permit.
Second. Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any additional comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay,
And I'll give you a motion for the same site plan approval, section 195-104, and a special permit for the Harrington Elementary School.
Second.
any further discussion, anybody? All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay, now do you want to do the lot coverage?
Oh, sure. Make a motion to approve the special permit for the lot coverage on the Center Elementary School.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Any comments? All in favor? Aye.
A motion to approve the special permit lot coverage on the Harrington's Elementary School.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
You got them.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Next one up is, I believe, 200 Turnpike Road, requesting a major mod from previously approved site plan and associated new special permit. This is part and parcel of a subdivision
All right.
of the lot that's taking place, being proposed.
You ready for me?
Oh,
Or?
does this have two legal?
You doing this one too?
Yep.
She's all over the place tonight, isn't she?
This is your night. Okay, what do we got here for notices? This is 200 Turnpike, is the legal
Public
notice?
hearing
Yeah, there's.
They're the same
Thought
thing,
you
but
could
you need
read
to
it.
read
It's the
one of
same
them.
thing off
Okay.
What's that?
it's the same verbiage on the agenda.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
What's
Take it
this,
away.
Another one of them zip files?
The Chelmsford Planning Board
one
will
more,
conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, July 20, nope, that's not it, July 26th, it said.
Oh,
This is, old.
that's when she first applied.
Yep. We'll conduct a public hearing on Wednesday, April 25th, 2018, 7 o'clock PM at the town offices, 50 Billerica Road, to consider the following application. 200 Turnpike Road, All-Star Management LLC requests a major modification to a previously approved site plan, special permits, and associated new special permit for purposes of subdividing a portion of the existing improved lot to create a new buildable lot in which the existing lot currently relies on the proposed new lot for parking compliance per the previously approvals. The modification also cite alterations so that each lot can function independently. New special permits per section 195-44C and 195-18 are requested to in any other zoning relief that may be deemed necessary. The site is located in the IA Limited Industrial District and consists of approximately 3.85 acres as shown on the Assessors Map 106-328-5 and 6. Copy of the proposal is available in the Community Development Department in room lower level 1 of the town offices, 50 Billerica Road, Chelmsford, Mass. 01824. It may be viewed Monday through Friday between 9 and 4 p.m. All interested parties are invited to comment in writing or may present any relevant information for consideration at the public hearing on Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. Per order, Chair, Chelmsford Planning Board. The Police Department, no concerns. Board of Health, no concerns. Center Water, no concerns. Building Department, no comment. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. Katie Enright with Howard Stein Hudson. I'm here on behalf of Thais Mojaza, who's All-Star Management for 200 Turnpike Road. We were here probably 8 months ago with this project, and we opened up a public hearing. At that time, there was some equipment that was stored on the lower lot, and Ms. Majaza had received a couple of different fines from the building inspector. I'm sure some of you remember this, about having those vehicles there. They have since been removed, and she has since paid her fines, which is, I'm assuming, why we have no comment from Mr. Dupel tonight. So that hopefully has been cleared up. But the real purpose that we're here for tonight is essentially to create a lot, or a separate lot, of the lower lot that's shown on this drawing, that's mostly surrounded in this green wooded color on the lower side. Currently, the lot exists is one large development, so both lots are one development. What I'll call the upper lot, 200 Turnpike, is an industrial building with office and manufacturing space in it. There's a parking lot that surrounds that building currently. There's also this parking lot on the lower lot, which is 20 to 30 feet in elevation different than the use at 200 Turnpike. And the lot's essentially been fenced and gated since the construction of this building because it's never been needed, it's never been used. It was essentially built to meet the zoning bylaw requirement for parking at that time. What Ms. Majaz would like to do is basically create a new lot line between these two lots so that the lower lot, which is now in the BAOD overlay district, could be utilized. Currently, it's essentially, it is completely unutilized. It's been paved, it's been parking, it's overgrown, it's been growing. Nobody ever uses it for anything besides the storage of those two vehicles that have been removed recently. The lot on the hill where the building exists would essentially be compliant except for the parking based on the calculation. So for zoning. So right now, there's 87 spaces on the upper lot, there's 64 in the lower lot for a total of 151. If we went through zoning based on the interior uses, I believe 132 spaces are required versus the 87 that exist there today. When we looked at the lot and look at areas, there's a lot of overhead doors around the building where parking could be placed. I believe we could land bank for potential future striping if necessary, an additional 18 spaces, and those are shown on this plan in dashed lines. Because there's a lot of overhead doors on this property that aren't typically used. So on site with the 18 would have about 107 versus the 132 required. So it would be, and with one space that I believe Christina called out because there's a bollard that's too close even though it's striped now for a space, so would technically have 106 on site versus the 132 required, which would be a 19% reduction in parking on this site. All of the other waivers we're requesting are from existing offsets to existing property lines. So the new property line we're creating is way over there on the right-hand side of the page. And that's so that we meet our FAR requirement, we meet lot coverage, we essentially meet all of the other requirements for this lot, except for parking and except for existing waivers where the landscape buffer aren't large enough on the existing part of the left-hand side of the site. So tonight, what we're seeking is essentially the relief for the existing building and the existing parking lot so that we can create a new lot line, which would be an A&R process if we were to receive this approval, to break off that lower lot, which is currently underutilized in this area, to create a potential new project at some point in the future.
Very good.
That's it.
Okay. Before we take it around, I just want to check with Evan. It sounds like this is going to be a multi-step process with an A&R coming up later. Yeah, I've seen the two lots myself. They're essentially completely independent, given the 20-foot drop between them. There's no way you can connect them except by
There's a very
jumping over
long
the edge.
stairway,
The
which I've gone down.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What order have I not gone in yet?
You haven't started yet first.
Oh, I always get to be last. Henry.
All right, yeah, the parking lot down below, I don't think it's been used in years, I remember just going by it. I really don't see a problem with this. I do have a question, though. Colleen, are these zip packages coming up from you or them, or how are we not getting?
Me, they were sent to me as a zip, and I just loaded them as a zip. I won't do that again.
Thank you.
not.
Are they
Thank
still,
you.
are they a share file from me? Oh, okay, so it came in as a share file, okay.
It came as a zip. share file.
Share file,
Yeah, and
okay.
I didn't,
Yeah, you got in.
They don't
set up
attach
properly, so
well.
no one was able to
So we
open
can't
it.
see them.
Oh, okay.
So
They're
this
just too
is-
large to email, so we'll have to do it a different way. Or you'll have to unload them and then put them on on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
I
much
didn't-
more convenient for us if we can look at this
I
ahead
could
of
open
time.
them.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on and my leaks
Right.
open, but I was on the.
So you just
same
have to
server.
add, yeah, okay.
Well, we'll fix that.
Files are
next time.
just too large to email by themselves, so.
Right.
That was my only real concern.
Okay. Nancy?
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. I am concerned about it, or I do have concerns about it, but my concerns aren't with what you're doing here. My concerns are with the intent that you voiced in terms of splitting off the corner, because that then leads to the expectation we'll see a project someplace in the future. And I have real concerns over getting traffic in and out of that corner for a built-up usage. And I have real concerns about it. So I guess that's the only thing that I really want to say to you is, before you split this, consider what you really can do with the corner. 'Cause I don't have a problem with this, but I'm just worried that you're creating something that then becomes almost unusable.
Understood.
Okay.
We walked this the other day too, and it definitely is separated. But it's, I mean, everything's there, lights and light poles and everything. It's like they just took off. Reminded me of a scene from The Walking Dead. You know,
Yeah, but the problem is that because that corner is a high incident corner.
Yeah.
It's in an intersection.
But I don't think
They
what
wouldn't
we're
be
doing
entering.
right now.
It doesn't
It
affect
doesn't
what
affect
we're
the
doing
one
right
now.
now, but it will affect where they're
In the
going
future,
with
yes.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I have no concerns other than that with that.
Okay, I couldn't open the file, so I couldn't answer my questions. So you'll have to answer them tonight. If my memory serves me correctly, part of that lower lot was used for drainage for this parking lot.
It is.
It is.
And that would be contained within an easement. So essentially, there are pipes that come through, collects all follows this dark line here. All the drainage from up here goes through these pipes to this drainage basin right here.
Right on the corner, more or less.
Right.
It's overgrown, so that's why we can't really see it.
Mhm.
Okay, so what you're proposing, if we give you the relief on the parking, what you're telling me is, when the A&R comes up, easements will be
In place over the
place.
drainage. Correct.
to maintain to maintain the drainage for up above.
Yes.
Okay, I'm all set.
Just one comment on your parking. Could you make your parking count if you used all your land bank ones as compact spots and gathered more room by doing that, or it wouldn't?
No, it wouldn't be enough. I didn't look at it, but it wouldn't be enough because would need, it's 106 versus 132. So we wouldn't make up that much space, no.
Okay, just a thought.
But you're making 18, right? So you have 18 spots?
18 spots is what brings us to that 107.
All right, so now on the upper lot, that's not a single tenant, so you have multiple uses in there, right?
Correct.
Is there a parking issue there now? I mean,
Not that we're aware of,
Yeah.
not that the landlord is aware of or that I've witnessed. Nobody parks on the bottom lot,
right.
ever.
No.
Yeah,
The only thing down there's a plow.
yeah.
Even that's gone, what?
Yeah.
I got one.
I do see people sometimes parked in front of, and it might just be for convenience, parked in front of the overhead doors that are on the side of the building. But
Okay.
No more questions?
Ed?
Yeah. On this, where you're putting in the new spots, is that gonna tighten up? I assume they're doing manufacturing, maybe not just research in this place. So I don't know, I know it's FRX polymers and, anyway. Is that can trucks move around there? I guess that's the question. With your design,
Yes.
trucks can still move around?
And you can see we've designed a striped area. This is new striping. So this aisle here, this is 31 feet wide, which an aisle is required to be 24. And then this striping here was put in instead of a space so that a truck can make that turn. Actually, a fire truck can make that turn.
We checked it out with the fire department, huh? Okay.
Question.
Yeah?
Katie, that's dead-end parking.
Correct.
What
It's
are you
all
gonna
dead
do?
end. It's all dead end parking.
I
And
know,
there's a
but you're
great
creating
difference.
You're creating new parking there now. So what are you gonna do about dealing with the dead end?
There's nothing new that can be done because there's a pretty intense grading differential between the upper parking lot and the lower parking lot, so it can't be connected. I can tell you exactly.
What are you talking about?
There's a retaining wall between.
Talking about right here.
Yeah, there's a retaining wall here. This is a
Oh,
concrete
okay.
retaining wall, so this is significantly lower than this.
Okay.
Not this significant as over here, but it's probably, I was just gonna look it up, it's probably 6 or 7 feet in elevation difference from one side to the other. Yeah, it's 219 to 227, so it's more than that.
Do you have the ability to make a turn space back here or backing space?
Yeah, one of those spaces could be striped as a turn space. We would just need that one additional, and we've done that before, we've signed it as a no parking space and just allowed somebody to be able to turn into it. Well, it's here, there's one here out in front of Town
That's
Hall,
right.
actually.
Well,
that-
there's, in front of Town Hall, there's actually a bump out here that allows for.
But there's one space that's signed too, that says to not park in it.
Everybody parks in there.
We could
anyhow,
do
so
that,
it's
we'd just need it, it would just bring us to 105 spaces, that's not a problem.
Okay.
Quick question. On the north side, Katie, of the lot, is that a power line easement? What's going on
Yes,
there?
yeah, that's a power line easement that goes through there, so there are power lines that cut through.
Okay. All right. Any more questions from the board? Okay, I have one. Just exactly what is the nature of the use of the building that's on there now? It looks like it's built as industrial space. I mean, is that what it's being used for?
Office and manufacturing and.
Kind of a mix.
Yeah,
Triton's in there.
yeah.
Triton's in there, all right.
Very quiet operation, but they've been there for probably well over 30 years.
Mm.
And it's kind of owner occupied, is my
Okay.
understanding.
Fireproofing chemicals, or is that what it is?
They do R&D for all kinds of industries.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fascinating business that goes on there. International research all over the world.
Neat. Okay, well, I believe this calls for a public hearing. Seeing as we've got some permitting involved, so I will open the public hearing and again, call for anybody who would like to comment on this particular request. Seeing none,
Would you like a motion to close the public hearing?
I would love one.
Well, you got it.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearing is closed. What do we do about it?
Would you like a motion to approve?
I think that might be called for, unless anybody has any additional comments they want to get in first. Have at it.
Motion to approve the major modification to a previously approved site plan and special permits associated with this new special permit for purposes of subdividing a portion of the existing improved lot to create a new buildable lot.
Okay.
Make an amendment.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, provided that drainage easements are maintained on the new
Yeah.
on the new subdivided building lot.
Fair enough. Evan, is this okay on one motion? Or should we split this?
Yeah, no, one motion.
One motion should do it? Okay. All right, we have a motion.
Second?
We have a second. Anybody want to say anything further? In that case, I call it to a vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Got it.
Thank you very much.
And that finishes the regular portion of the meeting. We have some,
Just 1 second.
Do we have it, we had a meeting minutes to go through or something?
yeah, we have meeting minutes.
I do have the meeting minutes. You didn't receive them early, so if you want to put them off until the next meeting, that's fine by me. They're done. But if you want to look at them right now, that's fine too.
I'm okay with them, just as soon get them out of the way.
Okay, thank you.
We're doing pretty well for time.
I kinda already breezed through them while I was waiting here.
Hmm?
Kinda already breezed through them while I was waiting. I was absent, so that's fine.
You're not an apple guy, huh?
But I'm learning.
This is my baby. The size.
Okay.
It's at the police station, right? Pre-town meeting? Check. It's always been.
Okay, I'll make a,
I want to wait for Henry to get back.
oh, that's right, he's gonna step down.
What are you doing, voting on minutes?
Yeah, we have enough to do it anyway,
Yeah.
but I just as soon have Henry here.
He was.
Or he wasn't here for this meeting anyway.
No.
Okay,
Oh, there you go.
all right.
I make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from March 14, 2018.
Have a motion?
Second.
I have a second from Tim. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent,
Opposed?
thank you.
Okay, that's 6-zip. Well,
I can't vote.
5-zip,
You can't vote.
but that's plenty. Okay, that takes care of the meeting minutes. Next meeting is May 9th, I presume? Yeah, that sounds right.
Check the calendar.
Now, before we get into the old business and new business, is there anything further to report on getting us an alternate?
No, nothing yet.
Nothing yet, okay, so we'll defer that to next meeting.
Is there town meeting review tonight?
Yes, there is.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
I have no idea what state they're in, but,
And I just found out Article 9, capital budget.
yep. That's what they're working on.
Okay.
I know, I for one sat through all of this in front of the FinCom, so I have a pretty good idea what's going on.
I think the discussion for town meeting prep is whether the planning board wants to post meetings in case you need to convene if amendments
Somebody-
come up.
Under the circumstances, it would probably be a wise idea for us to
We'll
post it.
We'll post it for all three
Okay,
nights.
sounds good. Now, I'm gonna have some trouble with the Thursday meeting.
Got Ed.
Huh?
Yeah, that-
Got Ed.
I'll be there.
All right, I may make it for some of it, it's unclear, so. All right, cool.
Sorry.
Old business. It says here zoning discussions, and
That was carried over.
yeah, it was carried over.
Needs to
It
be
is something that we had, several of us had discussed as possibly worthy of some research over the course of the summer, coming up into the fall town meeting. Just to review what we've got and see if there are major areas in which the zoning that we've got doesn't match what's actually there, it might not be a half bad idea for us to straighten that out.
Maybe,
You're talking a mapping exercise.
A mapping
Mapping
exercise,
exercise.
exactly, a mapping exercise.
maybe Glenn and I would want to take that as a,
Yeah,
do some preparatory work on it.
sure.
You guys want to take a shot and just
Yeah, that sounds good.
do a little driving around?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Well,
yeah.
the other thing is that I have a copy of the appraiser's database,
Okay,
which provides a lot of data in terms of lot sizes and such.
okay.
So I can do some analysis before we do some driving around.
Right, just to make, yeah,
Yeah.
make it easier.
Yeah.
All right, well, if you guys take a look at it and get, try to get your arms around the problem and see
Okay.
how much we might really need to do, that would be a good thing. Any other old business? All right, how about new business? It says here town meeting prep.
We've covered that.
We've covered that, and several of us, I mean, it was quite enlightening going to the FinCom. You were there for the FinCom, and you were there for that one, and I think Henry, was Henry there too?
Henry was there
I
too.
So-
watched y'all.
You watched
Yeah.
us all.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good, actually. Committees. Seeing as we have an EDC member here, you guys met yesterday.
Yeah, we met last evening. We continue to move through the deliverables, being the website development and the video. We're actually going to partner with CTM and a resident that is professional videographer in Chelmsford.
Excellent.
So, yeah, so they're
Excellent.
storyboarding it now. It will be done, complete probably the end of August. The website will be done end of July.
Yeah,
And then we also, NIMCOG came in,
yeah.
and they talked about putting together a permitting guidebook,
Yes.
which is going to be fantastic for residents as well as developers. It will provide some workflow charts, so
Excellent.
you know exactly what you need to do. It's going to be great, and hopefully, phase 2 of the website, hopefully we can integrate that into the website so it'll all be done electronically.
Nice.
Right, so
Yeah.
if you have someplace to go, all of a sudden it'll populate with your answer. That would be dynamic.
That would be nice.
Okay, excellent. Hey, by the way, that there was that article the other week that somebody sent around on Chelmsford.
Oh,
yeah,
Business in Focus.
yeah, yes.
Right, so it had, Lisa Maroney was on there.
Yes,
For the
I
business
saw that.
development. She was interviewed, Evan and I, basically, just, this Business in Focus is the nationwide magazine.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. So we get national exposure, and
Yep.
we've already actually received a couple phone calls on that article.
Nice.
Right, so it's definitely getting around. It was just basically, it describes Chelmsford, size 129. It talks about the overlay, the amenities, and why doing business in Chelmsford is a good thing.
It's a very cool thing,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Excellent. Any other committees? How's BPAC?
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, funny. Yeah?
Would you like a motion to adjourn?
Oh, I just gotta let everybody else get a shot. Anything unhistorical?
No.
CPC, nothing really new.
Okay.
Housing advisory, I don't think we had anything new, right? You covered for a little half of it. Is there anything?
They're looking for the planning board to begin to think about, was it expanding inclusionary? Is that what the Housing Advisory Board is?
Yeah, I can kind of anticipate that, yeah.
So they're
wouldn't
beginning to
surprise
think
me.
about it, and they don't want to think about it too much if the planning board isn't interested in thinking about it at all.
Well,
So that's-
if they have some particular ideas for improvements, I think
So you're open to a
I'm
discussion?
definitely open to a discussion. I'm remembering the
It
first
depends
time we
on
went
what.
through that.
Yeah, it depends on what and where.
Yeah, it depends on what and where.
Yeah.
Anything committee-wise you can think of that needs mentioning?
Not too much. I mean, we went to the, George and I went to our meeting.
Yep.
There's a few things coming in the pike. I mean, they're starting to talk about River Neck Road and, down here, the, getting on the tip.
Transportation project.
Yeah, it's year and a half, 2 years out now, but they're just starting to talk about it. Who knows what'll happen to funding between now and then.
Okay.
We hope. There's a few other odd things coming, but there's nothing concrete.
Yeah.
They're just discussions now.
Very good.
I had one other thing, too.
Yeah,
You asked us to come up with ideas we thought might be good.
yeah.
Is there something we can do about regulating the old gas station in the center of town and get them to do something other than having a dirt spot in the center of town?
Well, I think, now,
mean,
I
if we
would
did
have,
something with the center historical district or something.
Maybe with historical.
well, at this point, they might want to give that to the town, and I'll tell you why. When they took the gas station off of there, they
lost their
basically
grandfathering.
went back, they lost all the grandfathering, as far as I can tell. That is now just a lot of dirt in the center of town. It is not big enough to build anything on at this point, as far as I can tell, given current zoning.
It's a little bit more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Because there's two parcels and two separate ownerships.
Right,
Yeah.
Mobile actually owns the apex of the triangle,
the
which is
triangle.
very small.
right.
Rudy
Owns the
rest of
backside.
So Rudy, who managed the mechanics garage and
Yeah.
operated the gas station, but didn't own the land.
Right. Corner.
He owns the rest of that property, which is enough for development, including the White House that he also owns.
If they were to throw that in.
Yeah, but his part has been seeded already. It's been grassed down a
Yeah,
little
so
bit.
we're trying to engage, and over the years, we've engaged off and on with both Mobile and Rudy. If the thought is get Mobile to beautify it or maintain it, is that what you're?
Yeah, I'd like them to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was our next step. It's on our radar screen.
Okay.
Or donated to the town.
Yeah, our initial conversations, they were conceptually amenable to that. But I think part of their deal is that they want to know what's going to happen with the rest of the land, Rudy's land,
Yeah.
before they donate anything.
All right.
Isn't
So,
that site really dirty?
No, Rudy says he's got a clean
Because they had
2020.
a venting thing there for quite a while.
I mean, there's
Before that.
monitoring. There are
I
monitoring
remember
wells
when
on
they
the
put the
property.
sewer in, the gas was running down the trench.
The monitoring wells that are on the property are for the cleaners across the street.
Yeah.
okay. That I had not
Yeah.
appreciated.
So it is on our radar screen.
Well, I mean, would it help if we, I mean, nothing gets done quickly. If we were to start thinking about something for fall town meeting that we're starting to think about, would that encourage?
He's like a property maintenance bylaw, is that what you're
Yeah.
thinking of?
For the center?
Possibly. I mean, there's certainly other properties that have structures on it.
Yeah.
that People could consider falling into that category as well.
It depends on how we take in.
Yeah, so the concept isn't new. It's something that internally we've talked about off and on and kind of said it may be overreaching for kind of the challenges that we face.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be how it's worded.
Yeah,
I mean, that's just basically,
Yeah, for the Mobile and Rudy's property, I think a friendly email and phone call, I think
Okay.
will do it. And I think if Mobile chooses not to, they're likely gonna start seeing some bad PR.
Yep,
I think that's,
they will.
I'm hearing what you're saying. There are people who are very disappointed
yeah.
in losing patience. And I think what you're asking for is not much. You're just asking them to loam and seed it and.
Yeah, loam and seeded.
Loam and seeded, I'm happy. I mean,
Yeah.
but if something doesn't happen, I think we're gonna have to look at it somehow, some
Yeah,
way
and I
of
mean, we even may
regulating
be
it.
able to work with some of the garden clubs and make a
Yeah.
proposal to them that, you loam and seed it and the town and the garden clubs will handle the rest.
Yeah, okay. All right, so,
Let me work on that.
okay, that'd be good, and see what you can find out.
Yep.
Okay, obviously no executive session called for. I did have a suggestion earlier that we might want to consider which is that we might want to have a session, perhaps talking about A&Rs and maybe get our town attorney in to talk for 20 minutes on it. I think that's a good idea. I would suggest everybody read the A&R handbook first. That'll get you thoroughly confused. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I've read it. I mean, to me, I love laws. Reads wonderfully. But, you know,
The thing is, somebody looks at it a different way than somebody
yeah,
else.
people look at it different ways. Then I
But you
think
go
maybe
through it and give us the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah,
I,
right.
I think we,
A&R for
I think we,
dummies.
I think we have a very good town council that's
Oh, we have
well
an
versed,
excellent- and
that's
he
well
knows his
versed
stuff
in it right
cold.
now.
Yes, we do. We have.
We'll look at the agenda, the workload for the May meetings.
All right. See what.
If they're light, we'll try to coordinate with
That'd be
Paul Haverty.
perfect if you could do that. And in the meantime, if everybody hits the books a little bit and reads the A&R handbook, if you don't have a copy of it,
Online.
it's online. You can find it, or Evan can point you to it.
You can
And,
email me and I'll print you a copy.
Yeah.
Or I
Okay.
can email it to you. You can.
And also, does everybody have a current copy of the bylaws? I think I do now, but
Could you email us a current copy of the bylaws?
It's on the website. It just doesn't print.
It
like
doesn't
you-
print well from the website.
And that's what I would end up emailing you. I don't have.
You couldn't merge it?
No, but we can order books printed if you would, if everybody would like a nice clean one.
I'd like
or if
to have
you
a
like
clean
what you have
copy.
That has your notes in it.
I would really like to have a clean copy.
Yeah, I'd like a new one.
yeah, actually, so would
Maybe
I.
a
Mine's
new
getting pretty
A&R
ready.
too, if you could.
Yeah, the handbook, that
Yeah.
hasn't changed,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I have that one too.
That'd be good, because we should all be reading from the same hymnal. Okay. I think that's it. Anybody got anything else? And now the moment we've all been waiting for.
I'll give you a motion to adjourn.
In favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.